some concrete information around timelines. And so when you're considering an American university, assuming that you've done your research, you've started to narrow that down, understanding that they do look at your academic records, standardized tests, your application piece. When you're applying to the American universities, which happens in the fall of your grade 12 year, oftentimes you get questions around, well, if I take my SAT test in grade 10, can I hold that score when I apply in grade 12? Like, the answer is yes, that validity is still there for up to 5 years. So the testing is one piece, but as you move on to apply to these particular American universities, you want to pay attention to timelines and deadlines. And so strategically, you might come across the opportunity to apply what's called early decision. So early decision is a binding contract with the university, basically saying, I choose you. If you choose me, I choose you. So if you're going to take that strategy and apply early decision, which generally is by November 1st as a deadline, then make sure that you have everything in place to do so, applying early. But don't use that strategy if that is not something you're going to follow through on. So early decision says, I choose you, period. No other school, that's what you're doing. If that's not the strategy you're comfortable with, then that's not something that you do. Many of the universities are adding what's called early decision 2, which is interesting. So there's an ED1 by November 1st and an ED2 by January 1st. And so if for whatever reason you don't decide to do the ED strategy in November, but a school is offering another opportunity in January, you can sort of follow that path at that point. Early action is non-binding. So you're applying early, but there isn't that commitment to attend that university. You're just applying early. And there are all sorts of terms that students will need to be familiar with. That's why the U.S. College Guide book exists, Charmaine. So early action, early decision, regular admission, rolling admission, right? And so what all these things mean, doing your research and pulling that together and making sure that you submit your applications on time, making sure that if you require a couple of references, who are you going to ask? Are you going to ask that physics teacher, for example, because you achieved a 98% in their class? And maybe that's all they have to say? Or is it better to ask a volunteer mentor who could talk about an experience where you failed and you got up and you pursued the journey and it demonstrates your grit? So when you're looking at things like that, be sure to pay attention to the timeline. So that's critically important.